Rooster Tail Talk, the podcast dedicated to everything about the sport that we all love, hydroplane racing. I am your host, David Newton, and it's time once again, so sit back, relax, and welcome Rooster Tail Talk. Hello, race fans. Welcome back to the podcast. Today is July 14th, 2026, and this is episode 189. Well, we're right in the middle of July. It's a hot season for hydroplane racing across the United States and Canada. We just wrapped up the Valleyfield up in Quebec, Canada this last weekend. Some great Grand Prix racing going on up there, as well as the weekend before over in Madison, Indiana with H1 Unlimited with Grand Prix America hydroplanes. Just tremendous racing all around, and we've got more racing coming up, and that means people are busy trying to race and prep. So it's hard to get these interviews right now, but I want to thank Bryce Todd for making some time. He's part of a brand new team that just formed this year, owned by Jay LeCrone and Denise Garl. And they're going to be racing in the Grand Prix American Series, starting out in Tri-Cities in just a few weeks. I know they're thrashing over there at their shop. They just showed some pictures of some paint getting put on the boat, and they've got to put all the electronics, hardware, and gear inside that boat to prep. But we're going to talk to their new driver. He's a young one, and he's only raced for a handful of years and hasn't had experience getting Grand Prix. So it's going to be exciting to see how this team forms and how they mesh together and where they can take their team with this series. But we're talking with Bryce Todd. And for those who don't know Bryce that well, you're going to get to know him in this episode, because this episode, part one of my interview with him, it'll be a two-parter. But today's episode, we're going to go into his background of racing, his love of racing, hydroplanes, and everything in between. And then next episode, we're going to talk about him getting his seat in the Grand Prix hydroplane and their team's plans for the remainder of the series for this season. So let's jump in and get to know Grand Prix newcomer Bryce Todd. I'm joined today by the new driver for the new formed team for the Armadillo Breeders Association, which I want to ask about that name later on, but I'm joined with Bryce Todd. Bryce, how are you doing?
Doing good today, David. It's been nice weather out. Got to watch some boat racing. I actually listened to one of your podcasts at work today, so
Awesome.
Doing pretty good today. How about yourself?
I'm doing well as well. I'm on summer break, so I'm enjoying my summertime right now with my son, and I'm glad that the hydro season's finally here.
Yeah, it's a long wait, it seems like sometimes.
Oh yeah. And I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. I know you got lots going on right now outside of your day job. You've trying to get your team together here for a few weeks to start racing.
Yeah.
So before we talk about the GPs, I want to know more about yourself. How did you get introduced to the sport? What's your background with hydroplane racing?
So, introduction to the sport kind of different than most. My family's not from boat racing or anything. My brother's not involved. They don't even watch it. My dad used to race road and course cars, like Pacific Raceways and Portland International stuff.
Okay.
He was a big rotary guy, but he got out of it because I was the third kid. My mom kind of cut him off on the racing. But we grew up over in Manson, Lake Chelan.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And so my dad took me to, the Chelan races and the Manson races, and we would go to Pateras as a whole family every year. I don't think we ever missed Pateras.
Yeah.
And then my uncle Frank always took me down to Mahogany Merlot because he loved watching the vintage boats, and it kind of stemmed from there. Just loved watching them, and since I was a little kid, always wanted to be one of the drivers, and I had to kind of wait till I had my own money and time to do it because my family didn't. They would like to go watch it here and there, but just growing up in Chelan, there's hydros, and there's even a lot of offshore boats over there. So I just got addicted to boats in general.
Yeah, it's a great community for boat racing and just boats in general, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear this because a lot of people I talk on on the show have a more of a background following like unlimiteds, right? But
Yeah.
unlimiteds don't. I mean, they're there for the Mahogany Merlot, but it's not the
Yeah.
same as Seafair and Columbia Cup. So it sounds like we had more of an influence on the inboard racing in Manson than anything
Oh,
else.
oh, oh, for sure. Yeah. I didn't really get into watching Unlimited until I was, whenever I got a phone, probably 14 or 15.
Yeah,
Uh, but from there, yeah, it was just, the once or twice a year I got to go to an inboard race, and that's really it.
yeah. And I'm always curious too. Was anyone that stand out when you're following those inboard races? Did you talk to anyone that was kind of helpful, that kind of maybe prodded that
Um,
interest?
so when I was a little kid, I don't, remember a ton. Actually, one photo that's gone around, and Tiffany and Kip Brown and have laughed about it a few times, is I've got photos in the pits with my dad when I was really little of Pateras with, I believe, which would be Jeff Bernard and Kip Brown's 5 liter in front of me and my dad. And then I have a bunch of photos of me standing in front of Wally Johnson's 5 liter,
Oh yeah.
when I was a little kid, which was cool because I got to show Wally that photo before his passing. Um, that I was a little kid that was influenced by his boat down at Pateras. And then, he was there supporting either Steve Huff or Justin Weymouth that owned the boat at the time. And I was racing against him with my own boat. And that was really cool to see Wally get excited about that.
Yeah, yeah. So, some names that are no longer with us, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
some big influences there for you.
Oh, they were huge in the racing community.
Yeah. It's not easy to start off racing these things. It's not there's not a store you can really go to, and it's more expensive than most think. So without, a lot of financial support, where'd you start out? When did you start racing, and what class?
Well, I started buying random jet boats and V drive boats, and just it was what I could afford, and kind of went into doing almost like what you would consider street racing. Just me and my buddies had jet boats and V drive boats, and we would go down to random lakes and have fun. And but I wanted more.
Hmm.
I wanted to get into actual racing, and I bought a boat from a guy out in, I believe, Snohomish. And I told him, I was like, yeah, these are fun, but I really want to get into real racing. And he was like, oh, well, I have a buddy. He doesn't race, but he's into the vintage inboards, and maybe I can contact with him. Well, that's Sean Kelson, which is now, I believe, the president of Vintage and Historic. And me and Sean over the years have become extremely good friends. And Sean actually was my crew chief and radio guy for
Oh,
all 3 years that I've raced. He's been my crew chief, radio guy. We've become great friends. I've worked on his boats, and but yeah, just that's how I got introduced. Is some random guy knew a guy and gave me a phone number.
yeah. You just gotta get connected to the right person. That's all it takes,
Yeah.
right?
And so I started hanging out with Sean, and then that stemmed to me meeting a guy in competition racing, David Lemon. He runs 1 liters. So then I started helping David, and it snowballed from there. And now it's pretty much all I do.
It consumes us all, right? Hydroplane racing
Yeah,
consumes us.
yeah,
So
for
you
sure.
so you started out in the 1 liter class, is that right?
Well, I wasn't driving for Dave. I was just a crew guy,
Oh, okay.
working on the boats, and late nights and building motors. And um, what actually happened is Sean and Dave were talking to me one day, and they kind of, what class do you want to get into? What do you want to drive? What do you want to own? And I'm an engine guy. I've been building engines since I was a little kid, and so I knew I was going to build my own motors. And I was like, well, I want to find something with what I like to build. Well, that ended up being an E350, or the small block Chevy class.
Yeah.
And I happened to tell them, I was like, I really like this class. And Sean was like, well, it's not a great class to start in, but if that's what you want, because I'm a bigger guy too, so the 1 liters and 2.5s kind of looked a little small to me.
Yeah.
And Just happened to be as we were talking about that and we came up with that conclusion, a gentleman by the name of Kurt Myers was pulling into the pits with his E350, and he happened to have another one for sale. And I think I bought it like 2 or 3 weeks later.
Okay.
And then that's where the start with the 350s happened. And that's pretty much the class I've been in ever since then.
Okay. Okay. It's a great class. It's a race. I think it's a popular one.
Yeah.
What was it like getting in there the first time driving the
Um,
E350? Because, like you said, it wasn't like a really beginner class. It was kind of were thrown in there.
no, it's not really a beginner's class in most people's opinion. I thought that I did decent for my first year. But we can get there later, but first time was actually one of my funniest stories I have. I didn't get any testing time at all. We put this thing together and we tried to go to taps and had some issues with oil and tore everything apart. And by the time I finally got the boat together, it was the first race of the year, Lake Lawrence in Yelm.
Yeah.
And not a lot of E350 showed up. It was only me and Justin Weymouth, which now owns Wally's Old Boat, which is um, record holding boat,
Hmm.
with the driver Jeff Bernard in it.
Okay.
So that's a pretty well-known name.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was me in a boat that needed quite a bit of updates, overweight, and first time in the motor. I had some used props. I didn't really know what I was doing yet. And then I had was going with Jeff Bernard in one of Justin Weymouth's boats. I can't remember which boat it was. I believe it was the 20 at the time.
Okay.
Um, and we go out there and get on plane, and I'm using the radios, communicating, trying to figure out how everything works. And we make the start. I thought I was doing really good in the boat and going fast, and then Jeff Bernard lapped me at about 4 times my speed. And that's kind of when I was like, oh, I've got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Um, but that whole weekend and honestly the whole season from them, Jeff and Kip, Gunnar O'Farrell, Dave Lem, Sean, all those guys are kind of what you always hear. The most helpful, most big racing family. Everyone just wants you to succeed and be happy. They were all there to give advice, even competitors.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, I love hearing that too. 'Cause, yeah, like I hear that word family thrown around so often with boat racing, because people want more to come around and succeed and share those moments, which is
Yeah.
just fantastic to hear from you.
Oh yeah.
So where'd you take it from there? How did you kind of like build your confidence level, and where'd you go from there?
So So I believe my confidence level was built on my first year because I wanted as much experience as I could get in the first year.
Yeah.
And so I believe I went to 8 or 9 Region 10 races. There seemed to be a lot of races that year in our
Okay.
region.
Yeah.
Uh, so I went to every race I could in the region. And then we go to Manson. And in my mind and everyone else's mind, that was the last race of the year in Region 10. So I figured this weekend, pull the motor out, work on the boat, put it away for the winter. Um, I learned a lot that year, just seat time. That's all that you hear that from everyone, more seat time. And I was thinking it was Sunday at Manson. I was like, well, the season's over. I had a lot of fun. I can't wait for next year. And Jeff Bernard comes up to me and goes, well, you can win high points on your rookie year in this class. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, because I didn't know really. I wasn't following points or anything. I was
Yeah.
just trying to get seat time.
Yeah.
And Jeff goes, you're the only boat that's gone to every race, start and finished every heat, except for one. I had one issue.
Hmm.
And it only took me out one heat. And he goes, I wasn't the fastest, and but I was consecutive and I went to every race. And Jeff was like, yeah, if you go to Florida and you start and finish, like if you start and finish 2 heats, because the only guy on my tail at that time was Corey Peabody, apparently.
Okay.
And he just got the bad influence 5 liter that year. And he was way faster, but he missed out on the first few races of the year.
Hmm.
And he's like, but if you go to Florida and start and finish 2 heats, even if Corey's there, he can't get ahead of you. And I was like, oh, I don't really care about points. I really care about, I'm always attracted to records and all this stuff. And
Hmm.
that's where we've stemmed from now, is that's what we're really trying for. But at that time, I had no idea about points or anything. I knew they were a thing, but I didn't look.
Yeah.
And so then I started looking, and I'm like, shoot, I could win national high points my rookie year. I'm in a good spot.
Yeah.
And it went from like, I can't really afford it. Like, that's a lot of money to go to Florida and back,
Right.
and hotels and airfare, and I'd have to pay someone to drive the truck.
Hmm.
And the guy I got started with, David Lemon, was like, what if I help you? Like, I want to see this happen for you. What can I do to help? And I'm like, I don't know, Dave. I can't just take your money to do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let me make you a deal. Let me pay for the gas and airfare. And, maybe we'll split some other things. And he goes, let's put my 1 liter on the roof of your truck on a construction rack,
Yeah.
and we tow your boat on tilt. And then we both go to Florida. And I'm like, you're crazy. And we ended up doing it. And
Yeah.
so yeah, there was a lot of pictures out that year, because Jeff and Corey actually ended up doing the same thing. They put Jeff's 2.5 on Corey's roof,
Uh-huh.
and Corey towed his 5 liter. So kind of cool to see 2 or 4 West Coast teams hook up
Yeah.
and go all the way to Florida with boats on the roofs of their truck.
Right.
But it was a really good time. I ended up winning high points rookie season in 23, and just learning so much from so many people. And I built a lot of car motors before, and
Hmm.
that season was the year of me pulling my motor out every single weekend to change something, because even though I built so many motors, I learned that hydroplane motors are completely different.
Yeah.
And so I had to pull it out every weekend to change something until I started figuring out what the boat actually wanted.
Hmm.
Um, and so going into the years after, the boat got a lot faster, and with me being more confident in the boat.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to learn, right? I mean, you're still learning. I think you never
Yeah.
stop learning with this sport. What did
No, I
that?
mean,
Oh, good.
even Dave Villwalk says, even up to his retirement, he said he still learns stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's incredible. We can't rent a track and go run 500 laps like NASCAR guys do.
Right.
Uh, so it's really hard, and especially, our tracks aren't the same. They change not even every weekend. They change every lap,
Yeah.
and so you're learning constantly, no
Mm.
matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so unique in so many aspects.
Yeah.
Just wild to think about that. But well, what did that mean though? Rookie year, just started out, and you won the national high points.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Are you enjoying the podcast and want to show your support? Well, now you can with Rooster Tail Talk Plus. This is a new subscribing service for our podcast where you can sign up for a monthly fee and help us to create and grow more content for Rooster Tail Talk. If you subscribe today, you'll get chances for monthly raffle prizes, extra content, early release to new episodes, as well as much, much more. This is a new service, and we'll be adding more to it as we move along, but your support is appreciated. As you can imagine, running a podcast can be pricey as costs increase for hosting fees, website fees, travel, equipment, and much more. With your support, you can help make sure we have new content coming to you every week and make this a better place for talking about hydroplane racing. You can find the link to be a subscriber in the bio of the episode, as well as on our website, roostertailtalk.com.
Please support the show.
It was kind of surreal. I couldn't get time off work to even go to the awards banquet.
Oh
Uh,
no.
Dave and Sean were going,
Yeah.
and didn't really comprehend it all until Dave came to my house one day with a big plaque and paperwork and a high points ring, and I was like, and then you look it up on the website and it's your name, and it's like, wow, actually I did that, which
Yeah.
is it's pretty cool to think about. And it's and in the West Coast, I wouldn't say as much now, because we have been struggling with some race sites up here, but especially
Yeah.
2023 and before, the West Coast or Region 10 in general we're kind of blessed with our race sites. We had 9 or 10 race sites within a 4-hour drive.
Right. Right.
If you were in Seattle, your farthest race was 4 hours, 4.5 hours.
Yeah. It's
And you could hit 9 races a year. Some of these guys in the East Coast, I have so much respect for. I had them doing 2-day drives just to go race.
hmm
And I mean, we got that with the Florida situation. That's about as far as you can drive.
Right.
But it's just incredible to think they're doing that every weekend to go race, and we don't have to do it at all. And
Yeah.
so when you're up in Region 10 and all these races are going on, it's I'm not going to say easier, but it's a lot cheaper to go after high points because you're not
hmm
traveling so much miles. I mean, it's still a lot of work to be consistent and fast, but the
Right.
less effort you have to put into spending money and travel time and time off work to get high points up here was pretty incredible.
Yeah. 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 We're blessed with that. And what's the schedule down to now? I know there's been some sites that aren't on the schedule anymore.
Yeah, I mean we've had some issues. Yelm hasn't been around for a few years, 2 years to be exact.
Yeah.
Soap Lake, which is crazy fast water. I never got the
hmm
opportunity to run in Soap Lake. It hasn't been around. There were some issues with the park.
Okay.
Uh, Oak Harbor has been having issues the last few years. Hasn't been around.
hmm
And then this year it came down to I don't think this year was really a race site problem. I actually believe it stems more from everything costs $1 billion now.
Yeah. It's so
And I
expensive.
think and I think the club has come to a little struggle with that with the cost of cranes. I can't even begin to explain how much the cranes went up in cost. I mean, I think they not even tripled, maybe even more than that in cost.
Jeez.
And then of course there's the cost of the fuel, and
hmm
so you gotta have guys that want to go to 8 races a year to put on 8 races a year. But when you're paying $6 a diesel in your hauler,
Yeah.
a lot of guys can't afford to do that. And so I believe this year was down to about 5. But then
Yeah.
all these fires and storms up in Chelan caused a big thing of logs coming down the river. And so they had to cancel the first race of the year about a week before the race.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
now they're even second guessing if Manson still, up lake is even going to happen at the end of the year.
Oh,
Just
geez.
because the amount of logs and stuff, it's just a safety thing. The town loves the boats.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was up I was up in Manson just last week, and there's stickers of boats on restaurant windows and
Oh,
stuff. They
cool.
love it,
Yeah.
but it's just it's a safety thing, and hopefully, if they can't put it on because of that, maybe we can resource back to another race site. I believe is the hope.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
then we at least still have another race.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so too. Yeah. I've seen some pictures of the logs in the lake there, and yeah, it's pretty gnarly, the amount of
Yeah,
logs in the
it's,
lake.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, getting back to your racing career, I know it's been a short time so far, but what's been your biggest accomplishment so far?
I would say my biggest accomplishment is probably high points on my rookie year. I
Yeah.
mean, my rookie year it didn't seem like much, but now I look back at it, I'm like, that's a pretty good, big deal, and especially that class. To
Yeah.
come out and race against guys um, as high up as they are, and guys with a bunch of money and stuff, because I don't have that feature.
Hmm.
Um, it's pretty cool to say I did that. I don't believe I'm gonna go after high points anytime soon again. I'm more stemmed on trying to see how fast we can make the boat.
Hmm.
Um, I really love the idea of records. I think records are really cool. It's always been something I want to pursue, not only in boat racing. I always thought records were cool and everything. I pay attention to all these new top fuel records they're setting, and I hung out a lot with Steve Huff,
Okay.
and
Yeah. He was.
he was really big in records too.
Yeah.
Land speed record, dirt bike records, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and so that was why me and Steve got along great, because we had the same mindset of setting a record. You're doing something no one's ever done before,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Am I close to setting one? I don't think so at the moment. We had the boat really fast at Black Lake last year.
Okay.
And it was just going to keep getting faster, except after Black Lake, I ended up running into a medical issue, and I ended up in the hospital from the week after Black Lake all the way until after the whole season was over. I was
Oh
in
my
for
God.
almost 3 months straight.
Oh my God.
And so the boat stuff kind of
Yeah.
took a big halt,
Yeah.
and and then we got out, and then this season, we decided to my 350 boat is quite a bit overweight,
Hmm.
and it needed quite a bit of updates, adjustable parts, and um, getting rid of some weight. My boat used to be a two wing from Jones.
Okay.
Senior built my boat in the 90s,
Okay.
and it got filled in later in life, and so it's just heavy because it's been filled in, and so it kind of turned into a big demolition on the boat. Decks off, belly pan out, transom out, and then so this year we're pretty far behind.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. Well, sorry to hear about the medical issues and all that, but I'm glad you made it through. And it's
Yeah,
one thing to get high points, like you said, but I think the route you're going, you're learning more by doing that, right? Because you're really focused on the
yeah,
setups and all that.
yeah. It's great to race a lot and change stuff just to see what happens.
Well, I want to ask this question, and I know I'm gonna have a different answer because you've got kind of a different background with this, but who who was your favorite hydroplane and driver growing up? Do you have one?
When I was watching inboards as a kid, I didn't know who they were at the time, but I always liked Wally's boat. I'm guessing it was either Wally or his kid
Okay.
driving the boat back then. And
Yeah.
then my dad, still to this day, loves the vintage boats. My dad loved watching the vintage inboard Buccaneer.
Oh yeah,
So we
yeah.
always really watched out for those two.
Hmm.
When it came later on to Unlimited, I always liked watching Steve David.
Hmm.
And then that kind of stemmed into I was a big fan of Andrew Tate. Once I got older and Tate got into Mike Jones's boat,
Hmm.
U9, I believe, in 2016.
Hmm.
I watched the whole 2016 series really close, as close as I could, and was just a huge fan of Tate. Loved the way he drove a boat, and he's always hanging it out loose, and I always thought it was really cool to watch.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's one of those guys that he has no fear and he hangs it on the
No.
edge all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and then speaking about Andrew having no fear, my rookie season in Florida, when we went down to Florida, was my first time meeting Andrew. I
Okay.
met him. I met him before the race on Saturday. Introduced myself. We ended up drinking our morning coffee together on my boat and talked for a little bit. And it was pretty cool to finally meet him. And then I realized I was actually in a heat with him. He was driving the Pennzoil 350, the yellow 350.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is cool. I get to race with Andrew. And then I believe it was the first lap, Andrew blew the boat over right in front of me. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
So you haven't gotten to race with him then yet, technically.
A lap, yeah.
A lap.
I believe one lap.
Okay.
Yeah. He was way out front of me, so I was just watching him drive away.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I think as you continue, you're going to get some more experience to do that.
Yeah.
Well, Knuckleheads, once again, that's all the time we have for this week. Make sure you come back next week as we're joined once again with Bryce Todd for part 2 of his interview, as we'll talk more about him jumping into the Grand Prix ranks as he joins the Grand Prix American Racing Series with a newly formed team, the GP14 Armadillo Breeders Association. In the meantime, don't forget to check us out online. We're on social media, Instagram, Facebook, as well as our website, roostertailtalk.com. Don't forget to check out the Roostertail Talk Plus subscription, as you get early access to all episodes. You get some other fun things along the way, and you can check out our website for more details on that. But that's all we have for today. So until next time, I hope to see you at the races.